Today we're back with another ranking of animated character designs, and a lot of you wanted me to do this for Spectacular Spider-Man. So last time we did the Batman 2004, and I guess Spectacular Spider-Man is kind of the Marvel equivalent, but I have to say that Spectacular Spider-Man is much more favored amongst critics and fans alike. This is considered the definitive Spider-Man interpretation across all media apart from the comics. Like, that's pretty crazy. And they did take some risks with some character designs like the Batman 2004, but I will admit it's a bit more traditional here. So let's get into it. So first off, we're gonna start off with Sandman. So the Sandman design is pretty basic. They pretty much took the Sandman from the comic books and just moved them onto an animated form. And by animated form, I mean their shoulders and their arms are just separated by lines everywhere. Literally every character, their fucking arms and their body parts are just separated with lines, like they're all animatronics. Also, I really like how Sandman in the show, he kind of became a good guy later. Spoiler alert. By the way, spoilers for the whole fucking thing, okay? If you haven't seen the show, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I really like how they made him into a good guy, like by the end, kind of. I wish they continued the series so we can see what happens to him next, but it is what it is. I'm sure we've heard enough about petitions to revive the show and whatever the fuck. Alright, so Sandman, listen, nothing that interesting about him. I'm gonna put him as a C, because C is kind of how I put like the, hey, it's just traditional, they didn't do anything special, it's just that. One thing I forgot to mention about Sandman's design in the show is that the animators actually put a noise/grain effect whenever he's in full sand mode. That's really fucking cool, especially contrasting against the flat cartoon look of the whole show. Would that have changed my ranking of him if I remembered that? Probably not. Next, let's go on to Black Cat. What the fuck? So Black Cat is pretty much just, I don't know, Black Cat, except her costume isn't actually black. Yeah, she doesn't look exactly like a comic book form. She's definitely a lot more simplified, which is great for animation because animators, they don't want to draw every fucking frame with like tens and thousands of lines everywhere. But again, there's nothing really that like extra oomph about her, you know? I think we might be getting a lot of C grades in this video. I think it's just too simple, you know? Like, if you're gonna make it simple, you have to make it effective, you know? Just boom, like pack something in there. So yeah, Black Cat, she's going into, okay, you know what I'm gonna say about Black Cat? I can only just compare her to the Catwoman in the Batman, and that Catwoman design was way better. It's like peak, they fucking transformed it into something amazing, and this, it's just whatever. I just need to note that this has nothing to do with the story. All these characters, I'm just simply basing it off how they're designed here, okay? So Black Cat is a C again. All right, let's go with Mysterio, Quentin Beck. The thing I can't remember is whether they revealed that Quentin Beck was a robot all along.
About a guy sharing a cell, like whether or not he's human.
Or did I just imagine that? I don't know. Or maybe when they revealed that Mysterio just so happened to be a robot, I think. I don't fucking know. Okay, I think this Mysterio design looks fucking sick. Like, they kept it simple, but he just looks really cool. Like his shoulder pads and like his flowing cape, his fishbowl head, they actually made it look pretty cool. Like they gave him kind of a face silhouette. He definitely looks better than the Spider-Man animated series one from the 90s. Like this one looks much better. Yes, it does look like he's wearing a pair of majestic pajamas, but still, you can't deny that he looks pretty fucking cool. I think the shoulder pad's really solid because when you accentuate the shoulders on any human figure, it really emphasizes how masculine they look, and not masculine in the traditional sense, but just how intimidating and how cool they look. So I think they did a great job with that. Also, like that Juggernaut turtleneck design thing that's kind of overlapping the fishbowl, that was a really subtle but sick design choice as well, because I feel like he'd just lose all his aura if you just showed the bottom of the fishbowl just poking out of his neck. So saying that, I think Mysterio, I'm gonna move into a B. Wait, I probably should have started with Spider-Man. Okay, let's go with Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, what a fucking great design. Like, holy shit, man. For like a young Spider-Man, they just fucking nailed it. He looks nimble and he looks young and he looks flexible as well, and just gives so much freedom to make him like bounce around everywhere and shit. Because the 90s Spider-Man, he was a buff dude. He was a thick boy. You cannot imagine him like fucking doing flips and shit everywhere. But this Spider-Man, oh, so good. All right, let's just address the webbing. The webbing is much more simplified than other Spider-Man media. So basically, you have 2 to 4 web panels throughout the entire costume, which, like I said before, makes it way easier for the animators, but it also just makes it easier on the eyes, you know? And I think a lot of you will agree with me here, but where this costume really pops off is the mask. The mask and just the overall silhouette of his head is perfection. shit. Especially his eye shape. Something so iconic about that eye shape. Like, yes, it is the traditional Spider-Man eye shape, but at the same time, they just kind of round it out so stylistically. Like, they get the curves right, and it's just so satisfying to look at. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's like the ratio of the white part to the black lenses as well. Also, I appreciate that they didn't really go for like a strict white lens. Like, it's kind of a creamish color. That also looks pretty sick. They may have taken inspiration from the Raimi movies from that, but still, it really complements with their choice of red and blue. Have I glazed the Spider-Man design enough yet? Yes, I think so. So this Spider-Man is going into fucking S tier. Iconic, iconic. I didn't even give it a second thought. S is for Spider-Man, bitch. Next, let's just tackle on all the other Spider-Man costumes because we have two symbiote variations here. So first, we have when he first gets a symbiote. So when he first gets a symbiote, it's very similar to the Raimi Spider-Man where it's just a black variation of his regular costume. And what can I say? Whenever a character is just dressed completely in black with white highlights, it's game over, okay? It just looks too fucking cool. I know a lot of people wouldn't be happy with the fact that it's not the traditional symbiote Spider-Man where, you know, it's just plain black with the white emblem, but I really fucking love this. I'm sure a lot of you who grew up with the Raimi movies would agree with me that the white webbing on the black, it just hits different. Not that the Raimi movies had the white webbing, but, you know, just like the black variation of the regular costume, it just... oof. It just highlights a true symbiosis between Peter and the symbiote. Because when you look at, I don't know, Tom Hardy's Venom, that just looks like pure symbiote, like pure alien. This looks like Spider-Man and symbiote working together. Also, I like how minimal they kept the lenses, like just flat white with the little eye shape. Pretty cool. So I'm gonna put this Spider-Man in A, actually. Yeah, A. So next we have second stage symbiote Spider-Man where his white emblem is kind of just growing across his chest. So it's a visual representation of how we're losing more of the Spider-Man because all the webs are gone, most of the original costume design elements are gone. He even lost like the little twings on his eyes. Like, it's completely rounded now. Great visual storytelling. I love how the Insomniac Spider-Man 2 also did this. Like, the symbiote costume evolves throughout the game as it takes over Peter. But yeah, nothing much to say about this one. Pretty much just all plain black and white. I kind of fucking love this though. It goes hard. But does it go as hard as the black webbed variant? Honestly, to me, I don't think so. Just from the design aspect, I kind of like a bit of pizzazz throughout a character's design. And this design is just a bit too plain for me. I'm not saying that this character's less badass than the other one because in the show, this fucking symbiote variant is a monster. I think they just nailed the first stage, so unfortunately, well, fortunately, it's above a C, so I'm gonna put it at a B. Next, we're gonna go with Carnage. Now, you might be thinking, I don't remember seeing Carnage in this show, what the fuck? Well, he did make a background appearance in one of the shows.
That's encouraging news, Cletus. But it was Max's turn to speak.
And we can assume that he was being set up to make an appearance in season 3, which we never got. Okay, I'll be honest, I can't just put him in here as a joke because what the fuck am I meant to base this off? I think it's cool that they gave him the Santa hat because, you know, to accentuate the red and like, oh, you see that? Red on Cletus Cassidy. You know what that means, right? But I will be honest, I do get serial killer vibes from this character design. I would not let this guy go 100 feet within my child, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I don't even know why I spent more than 10 seconds on this guy. I'm gonna put Carnage, aka Cletus Cassidy, at C, because, you know, we didn't know what they were gonna do with him later. Okay, next, we're gonna tackle another civilian type of character, and again, I don't know why the fuck I put him in this list, but J. Jonah Jameson is in the show. And while a lot of people will say that J.K. Simmons is the definitive character portrayal of the J. Jonah Jameson character, this show actually did a great job at it.
Only makes contact by email.
And I didn't even get his regular look for this tier list, so fuck me, I guess. But I do want to acknowledge that he does have a Hitler stash, which is what he had in the early comics. So yeah, they gave him a Hitler stash. Not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably a bad thing. I wouldn't recommend anyone wearing that stash style today, you know? Like, especially in a blue city like New York City. You get beat the fuck up. So J. Jonah Jameson, I'm gonna put him at a C. Okay, next let's do Jupiter Man. I think that's his name. Or Colonel Jupiter or some shit. J. Jonah Jameson's son. This design, it looks like fucking shit. I'm sure that's how he looked in the original comics, right? Colonel Jupiter. Yeah, wow. His comic book design is fucking trash. Okay, so the show did an upgrade. I was gonna put him at a D, but looking at how he was meant to look in the comics, I'm feeling more forgiving. Didn't this guy have like an anger problem, like a drug? No, it was an anger problem, not drug problem. Oh god, that's another C. Fuck me. The Jamesons are together, okay? Next, let's do Vulture. So Vulture, they obviously strayed away from the single branch of a Christmas tree look and they went for something else, which looks a lot better. Is it traditional? Not really, but still, fuck you, I like it. Like the red and black really just makes him look more vicious. Like who the fuck's gonna be scared of a green bird? No one. This looks fucking crazy. Also, they did kind of just take their own liberties with this character design because it pretty much has nothing to do with the original comic design, apart from being bald and wings. Like, seriously, there's literally nothing similar. But yeah, I really love it. It's a really good modern revamp of Vulture. I'm a sucker for this kind of thing where they just, you know, they just take creative liberties and they just make a character look cool. A character that isn't supposed to be cool, they make them look cool. So I'm gonna put Vulture at either A or B. You know what? Just for the extra steps they took to just redo the whole design, I'm gonna put him at A. Even though the character himself isn't like that amazing and awesome, you can't really fault how well they did on the design itself. All right, let's go with Tombstone. So Tombstone, they pretty much nailed it. Also, that scene in the show where he just beats the fuck out of Spider-Man. They did a great fucking job. Like, don't give me this motorbike mechanic bullshit from the Insomniac games. Give me this guy. Wait, again, I need to look up how he looks in the comics. I did not do my research for this video. Yeah, no. Yeah, wow, what a fucking improvement. Also, him in the animated series, if we compare this Tombstone to the one in the 90s animated series, 100% improvement. I don't know why the animated series want to have the fucking... what's it called? That fucking vampire looking propped up collars? Like, my guy, you look like a dad who's trying to sneak into an 18th birthday party, okay? Fucking relax. Anyways, I like how neutral his colors are as well on his costume. It just really complements the whole Tombstone aesthetic. Like, you don't want any bright colors and shit. Like, this guy is a stone wall. He will fucking beat the shit out of you. So I'm gonna put Tombstone, especially just looking back at the 90s version, at a B. All right, let's continue the gangster war streak with Hammerhead. Honestly, not that much to say about him. He just looks like a gangster because like, if you didn't know that he was Hammerhead, he had superpowers like, yeah, like that fucking cranium on him. He just looks like a gangster from a stylized animated show. So yeah, I'm not gonna hold too long on this character design. I'm gonna put Hammerhead at a C. Next with the crime saga, we're gonna take on Silver Sable. Nothing much to say. They did a great job at bringing Silver Sable to life in this TV show. I feel like it's a bit hard to fuck up the Silver Sable design, you know, because the design basis is literally in a name. And if you somehow fuck that up, I'm sorry, why are you working in this multi-million-dollar industry? But I do like how they put extra efforts to make her costume look more tactical and they gave her a bunch of cool looking weapons. So I'm gonna say that she goes at a B, okay? Because she's not very plain looking like the C grades. They went the extra step to make her look cool, which I appreciate. Okay, next we have Chameleon. Listen, I literally don't know what to say because this is literally just a very simple design. It is literally just, I don't think we ever saw Chameleon in like his chameleon costume, because I know in the anime series he had like this whole look to him as well with the fucking belt and everything, but I don't really think he's like considered a supervillain in this. Like he just has like this Voldemort looking ass head. Well, I can't put him at a D because they literally just took Chameleon from the comics and they just did him justice. This is another C. C for Chameleon. There you go. All right, we're getting into the big leagues here, okay? We got the fucking B and A tier Spider-Man villains. Except for Molten Man, which we'll tackle now because Molten Man, this was my first introduction to Molten Man. And I don't know what it is about Molten Man in this show, but as a kid, I fucking loved this character. I don't know why. Powers were literally just shooting magma or whatever the fuck. And for some reason, as a kid, I thought that was really fucking cool. And props to them for digging out such an underused Spider-Man villain. Like seriously. Again, I'm gonna look at what he looks like in the comics just to compare. Oh my god, I've just been reminded by Google that they did him in Spider-Man No Far From Home. That magma monster was officially titled Molten Man. Now I'm sad. I can't believe they wasted him like that. I'm actually sad now. Wow, that just made me fucking depressed. Yeah, so when you compare this Molten Man to the one they had in Far From Home, this is leagues better. And this is obviously a younger interpretation of Molten Man because Molten Man in the comics is just some big dude who's like mostly shiny and shit. Also, it's a kid's show, and in his episode, they talk about his gambling addiction and shit. Like, that's fucking insane. And he gets pumped and dumped by the Green Goblin so hard, like, oh my god, look, I can control my powers. And Green Goblin's in the back going like, no you can't, buddy, beep. And then he just turns back into flames. So yeah, this is my personal ranking. You can make your own fucking ranking, I don't care. I'm putting Molten Man at a B. He just looks really actually, should I put him at an A? Nah, he's a B. We'll keep it, we'll try to keep it fair. All right, next we've got Kraven the Hunter. So Kraven the Hunter, he looks pretty cool. Can you get much better than that when you're interpreting Kraven from the original comics into an animated series? Like, they really did nail his design. And I like how they took inspiration from the Ultimate comics where he's just a fucking loser. Like, he's like, yes, I will hunt Spider-Man. What accent was that? That definitely was not Russian. Anyway, yeah, he goes out what was that? Like, he goes after Spider-Man and just gets his ass whooped. Because let's face it, he's a regular guy. Full stop. But that's not what we're here to talk about, because we're here to talk about the design. And the design looks pretty badass. We're putting him at a B. But that's not the only Kraven design, because he does turn into a furry. Just like the idea that he had to do this to compete with Spider-Man. Do I like it? I don't know. Did this happen in the Ultimate comics? I think so? Anyways, the design, I am not a fan. Let alone the very idea of him transforming into a lion monster guy. I just don't like this look. He just doesn't look cool, you know? He looks like one of the guys from Cats, the movie. I don't know, I'm not usually a fan of humans mixed in with like dogs and cat animals. They just never look cool to me. So I think this Kraven might be the only D. Again, I appreciate the initiative they took to bring upon this interpretation of the character, but to me, it didn't hit. I'm sorry. All right, next, let's do Shocker. Now, Shocker here, I'm gonna say it now, badass. Can I just admit something quickly? I really like Shocker since I was a kid. I don't know what it is, but I think it may have actually started with this show. And I know this isn't the classic Shocker, like they actually gave a different character the Shocker title in this show, but it doesn't matter to me because the costume is fucking badass. And his energy beams and shit, awesome, awesome. Much better than the 90s anime. Like the 90s anime series Shocker is classic.
Shocker! Can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
But this just makes it amazing. And this might be a bit polarizing, but I like the turtle shell look of his gauntlets. It really works well with the symmetry and the silhouette of the character, and it emphasizes where the power of this character comes from. And, you know, it just looks cool, okay? I'm gonna put Shocker at a A. I know some of you won't be happy with that and be like, what? That's not fair. How come you put I don't care. Next, let's go with Lizard, aka Curt Connors. So Curt Connors in this show, fortunately, he did not eat his child here like he did in the comics, so that's already a +1 for me. His design really reminds me of the Batman's Killer Croc, which actually the Killer Croc kind of reminds me of the Lizard because Killer Crocs are not actually meant to look like that. But hey, they did a really good job at designing Lizard, you know? Like, he looks ferocious, he looks vicious, he looks evil, and thank God they kept the lab coat on because that is always something that we need. I'm looking at you, amazing Spider-Man. It actually does my head in when the Lizard doesn't have his lab coat on because it's literally part of the character. Like, he's a scientist, man. Well, scientist Lizard. So I'm gonna put Lizard at a B. Next, we're going to Electro. I just realized that I have half of Kraven in this photo, so probably not the best image I could have picked, but you can see Electro's design here. So they actually took a lot of steps to make Electro not look like his comic book form, but at the same time, his design is a homage to Electro in the comics. His flaring electricity, it does make the shape of his mask from the comics, so we like that. That's like in No Way Home when Jamie Foxx's Electric goes zip, zip, zip. I'm not sure if I like it more than the classic design, but I still do really like this. And the tubes running throughout adds a bit of dynamics to the costume. I don't really like it when he has the mask on though. He just looks like a dweeb. But when he looks like this, when it's flaring up and everything, it's pretty sick. This whole concept reminds me of how the Batman adapted Mr. Freeze. The element just takes over their head or their mask. So instead of ice here, you have electricity flaring out. But I will say that sometimes his chin looked a bit weird in this show. Like he has a pretty big chin for some reason. I don't know why that's something I noticed, but I just wanted to note that. I wouldn't really put him as A, so probably B. Yeah, B. If I actually really liked this design, he would be an A. But for the steps that they took to make him look different and the risks they took for his overall character design, he's a B. Next, we're going with Rhino. Now, designing Rhino as a character, it's definitely either a hit or a miss. Insomniac's Rhino, hit. Amazing Spider-Man 2, miss. Kraven the Hunter, can't tell yet, but it looks fucking weird. So this Rhino, actually, I'm gonna say just for all the character designs, like I mentioned before, they all kind of follow the same style. You have the lines separating the neck and the traps from the body. You have the lines going throughout the pecs and the shoulders, separating the forearms from the triceps and bicep. They all have really similar design looks, which is great for consistency. But it's really accentuated on Rhino, where his fucking torso is just a fucking massive bowling ball. So let's get into the actual design itself. So he's fucking huge, but that's what I like about it. It really emphasizes his proportions of where his strength lies. Because if we take bodybuilding concepts of having a larger back and shoulders and upper torso compared to a slimmer waist, that really accentuates how masculine and intimidating someone looks. So Rhino here, while you can't see it in this specific photo, I'll put a different photo up, he looks like a fucking beast. And I'm pretty sure in this show his feet are kind of like rhino elephant feet, which kind of, I don't know, it's such a subtle detail, but it adds so much. I'm not gonna clown too much on the proportions of this guy because he is meant to be a big fucking dude. And compared to other big characters in the show, Venom, he's actually like pretty well proportioned. And I like how the horn just sticks out and just flicks back up. That really fits into the visual style of the universe. And it takes a lot in the modern day to have Rhino as a guy stuck in a suit. Yeah, the Insomniac games did it, but who else? Fucking no one. They're too scared, that's why. But could you imagine your head being that low compared to your traps and your neck? You try to go through a door and like it just crumbles because your fucking hunchback just knocked down the door frame. Anyways, I'm gonna put Rhino at... Listen, if I didn't like Rhino so much, he'd probably be a C. But, you know, I really like Rhino. I've always liked Rhino, okay? I'm gonna put Rhino at a B. Okay, so I was wrong. We have more B's than C's. Next, let's do Venom, the other big boy. So Venom, as you can tell from this photo I've chosen right here, compared to Rhino, his proportions are not great. Like, at least Rhino had long legs. This Venom, though, he has skinny and short legs? What is happening here? I compare that to his arms. Jesus Christ, you can fit 2 of his legs into each arm. Lengthwise, I mean, just by mass, probably like 100 each. And I know this Venom design is pretty polarizing. I always see this on like Reddit and stuff like, oh, what do we think about this Venom design? But as a kid, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty cool design. But that was as a kid. What do I think now? I mean, it fits in with the universe's aesthetic. What do you want me to say? I can't fault it for fitting in like that. And they did change up the spider a little from the typical Venom, like they have the legs separated from the 2 and 2, which I guess they kind of did with the Black Spider-Man already, but still. But hold on, let me just put up some arguments as to why this guy does not belong in any of the upper tiers. The amount of times this guy would say bro fucking drives me insane. Hey bro, what are you doing here, bro? Oh, I thought you didn't have the symbiote, bro. Sorry, but whenever Venom's voice actor, like Eddie Brock's voice actor, or Josh Keaton as Spider-Man and Peter Parker would say bro, it just would not sound natural at all. It's like they were forced to say it. Like they just didn't know how to use bro colloquially. By the way, I'm kidding. That obviously doesn't factor into the whole design ranking, okay? Just relax. And there was some point where like his torso opens up its own mouth as well. That was pretty cool, I guess. But like I said before, I am a sucker for some extra detail, you know, and this Venom is very simplified. Which, hey, sometimes less is more. But in this case, it is what it is. You know what? I'm gonna put him at a B tier. You know why? Because even like just comparing his overall size to Spider-Man, he's just an intimidating force. And that's what Venom should be when he's a villain to Spider-Man. He's meant to be like a hulking monster variation of Spider-Man, where Spider-Man's like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, B tier for Venom, depending on who you are, that probably either made you really upset or really happy. I don't know. All right, let's go with Doc Ock. Doc Ock, aka Dr. Octopus, aka Otto Octavius. He looked fucking sick. First of all, the eyepieces they gave him instead of the typical goggles, already a +1. The color and design of his tentacles, where they just look like vicious aliens, another +1. His color scheme and overall look that pays homage to Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, also fucking sick. So yeah, I don't even know what arguments you can make against this. Like, maybe some people would be upset that he's not a fucking bodybuilder like he is in the animated series in the 90s, or like he is in the comic books, but frankly, that never made any fucking sense to me, okay? Like, this is Doc Ock, he's a fucking scientist. When does he have time to work out, especially when he has like 4 other tentacles to do everything for him? What, you think he's gonna get a big chest and abs from doing bench press with his tentacles? Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, it's really fucking sick design with the trench coat and everything. Not every supervillain needs to be buff, okay? Especially when it doesn't make sense. You filthy arachnid. Come here, arachnid. That's how I remember his voice. He would say arachnid so many times, I'd be like, I want to start saying arachnid 10 times a day now. All right, so Doc Ock, A grade piece of steak. All right, finally we have arguably what is Spider-Man's arch nemesis. I know some people argue that it's Doc Ock or Venom or whatever. Shut the fuck up, it's Green Goblin. It's a Green Goblin, woo! So this interpretation of the Green Goblin, they took some initiative to modernize the look, and they did a fucking great job. This show was 14 years ago, okay? And if this design popped up in an animated series, everyone would be like, whoa, that's a fucking sick design, bro. I like how they kept the whole Goblin look and they didn't completely ditch it for like a suit of armor. But in saying that, they did actually incorporate some armor pieces in there, which I fucking love because they have different tones of purple throughout to contrast with the green. Not sure how I feel about the belt slash cod piece though. It draws a bit too much attention to that area. I feel like that cod piece is only there just so he can make Goblin these nut strokes to Spider-Man. And I like his feet slash boots, they kind of just like slump down into a stump, kind of like Rhino. It just gives him this heavier and more intimidating look. And yeah, I want to emphasize that I'm really happy they stuck with the traditional color scheme, because in the 2000s, everyone was taking Green Goblin in a different direction. We had the Ultimate Comics becoming like a Hulk-like figure. We had the Sam Raimi Green Goblin who just a green armor. So I'm glad they just took a modern approach to the classic Green Goblin outfit. Do you guys remember when he would throw a bomb and it would explode and just make a BOW! 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 No idea what was up with that, but sure, nothing to do with the character design, but I just want to address how strange that was. And his finger, pew, 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 pew. I don't know, that's the power of Green Goblins in the comics, but I'm glad they had it in here for the series because I'll be sick of seeing him just throw pumpkin bombs like every 10 seconds. However, you're telling me that this Green Goblin outfit was developed for military purposes? What fucking military is gonna wear that on the field? At least Falcon in the MCU, you can see it being like a tactical advantage. This though, what kind of government is gonna buy this bullshit? Feels effective, I guess. Like, the US Army will be able to kill a lot of foreigners with this. But do you really want your soldiers to be dressed like goblins? A purple and green goblin? Really? Anyways, so where are we gonna put Green Goblin? We're gonna put him at... we're gonna put him at an A. He's not S tier because it's not like super iconic. Now looking at these designs, this overall ranking I've accumulated, I'm pretty happy with it. Listen, I'm looking at the S tier and we only have Spider-Man there, and to be honest, I'm looking at the other designs, it's fair enough. Because that Spider-Man design is just so iconic. Because even if you haven't seen the show, you would be able to spot that Spider-Man. And that Spider-Man design, I feel like for a lot of fans, it just carries so much weight and resonance. But yeah, overall, this show did a great job at adapting these characters into the animated form and simplifying them, but at the same time, just making them look fluid and modern, just for all kinds of audiences, whether you're a kid or an adult. Even if you watch the series today, it holds up so well. That 90s animated show, within the first 5 minutes of an episode, like, you won't be able to breathe because it's just moving at fucking 100 miles an hour. Meanwhile, this show, it just balanced character development, amazing designs, and story arcs just so well. It's a shame that we probably won't see the show get revived like X-Men 97 because this show was owned by Sony and X-Men 97 is owned by Fox under Marvel, so they can do whatever the fuck they want with that. But Disney probably wouldn't be jolly to revive a Sony show where they probably would be making like very little money from, which is a shame, but hey, grateful that we got this show in the first place. Alright, if you haven't checked it out already, check out my The Batman 2004 character design ranking. Check out my second channel for random vlogs and videos at The And Day Life. Check out my Instagram and Daily. Check out my letterbox for my recent ratings and reviews for all the movies I see. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.
10-1-5 in the open night. I can't help that I feel so lonely. How many times do I have to die?